This was the climate change cult election, and the climate change cult lost. This was the socialism versus capitalism election, and socialism lost. This was the identity politics versus traditional values election, and identity politics lost. This was the political correctness versus common sense election, and political correctness lost. This was the lovies versus the tradies and small business people election, and the lovies lost. Take note, you miserable toadies in the business world who sneer at people because of their religious beliefs, their love of Australia, their traditional family and conservative values. You pander to the left, you pander to online left-wing activism, and you lose. You lose market share. You lose profit. You lose customers. You lose votes.
There will not be a change of government. There will not be $387 billion of extra taxes. There will not be an unknown number of jobs lost, extra billions of taxes spent, and even higher power prices thanks to a reckless and futile climate gesture. And people like me won't be thrown into jail for pointing out the lunacy of the Greens. And you know who deserves the credit here, don't you? We'll go through a few of them, including ScoMo, of course, in just a moment. But the real victors here are you. Mainstream Australians have once again proven that they are much smarter than the pundits and the so-called elites who make up the political media class. While the ABC and the Canberra Press Gallery swallowed and echoed all sorts of nonsense, such as tax increases not hurting anyone, or that all people who negatively gear houses are rich, or that climate action by Australia will stop droughts, floods and bushfires while also lowering our power bills. This nonsense was accepted by much of the media who were cheering for Labor, but it didn't fool mainstream voters. You saw through, as you tend to do. Scott Morrison's campaign was pretty much flawless, and his acceptance speech last night was pitch perfect. I was happy enough to be there. And it went right down to the way he returned serve on Labor's thinly disguised attacks about his faith during the campaign. ScoMo doubled down by talking about miracles.
I have always believed in miracles. I'm standing with the three biggest miracles in my life here tonight. And tonight we've been delivered another one.
It's a terrible result for Labor, probably because the polls were predicting a Labor win.
It's a bit of a spectacular failure of opinion polling.
Should anyone trust an opinion poll ever again?
This is a shambles when it comes to the opinion polling.
This has been the greatest information fail in many, many years.
Perhaps too many in the love media are out of touch with mainstream concerns. Perhaps they tell us what they hope will happen rather than what's actually going on. Perhaps they're the ones whose bias turns their analysis into preaching. The left spends so much time mocking, abusing and sidelining anyone with a right-of-centre point of view, they don't stop to consider how this might quell right-of-centre voices in public debate and even in opinion poll gathering. The so-called shy Tory syndrome factor was indeed at play. People don't like to say they're voting Conservative, even to a pollster. So they save it for that most ingenious of Australian inventions, the secret ballot. But this isn't new.